What's up, you guys? This is Mr. Tracks from Level Up Magazine. Got a chance to catch up with your own and exclusive artist from Chicago here in Arizona, the heat. Not quite yet. Austin Fillmore.
What's
right?
up, baby?
Man, what's up, man?
Man, good to see you,
wow,
man.
It's good to see you, man. You've been doing a lot of work. You've been gathering a lot of energy towards putting it into your artistry and work. So I just wanted to get in your mind for today.
Let's get up in
while
it.
you in here, and, just catch you in your craft in your studio and stuff like that. So, man, like, who is Austin, man? Like, what's your story? What made you want to dive in and become an artist, man?
Oh, man, I'll put it like this. When it comes to who is Austin, I'm actually still discovering that myself, as we go along. And that's something that as an artist, I always try to tell people, I'm learning, I'm growing, so grow and learn with me. But as far as where I started, man, so I grew up in the church. My dad's a pastor. My mom was a banker. But it was this rule growing up in my family. You had to play an instrument and a sport. So I chose basketball. I chose basketball, soccer, and football, and I chose piano, clarinet, saxophone. As time goes on, you have to pick one. So most of us chose sports. I chose sports. But there was something about this music world, growing up in church and singing, that just really caught my attention. And in 7th grade, I remember my first time getting a hold of rap music, because before then it was always just like church music. And I remember my first rapper I ever heard was Ludacris. It was word of mouth. That nigga changed my life. Like, Ludacris changed my whole life. Going to school in 7th grade in lunch cafeteria, and people were freestyling, right? And I was terrible at freestyling, terrible. But I was awesome at like making beats and shit. So they would let me do that. But I really wanted to freestyle because I saw like the attention the guys would get from the girls. So I would go home, wouldn't do my homework. I'd sit there and write these raps just to rap them the next day. I would show up at school, rap them, and people were like, "Oh, that's dope." And then the dude would come back and say some shit, and they'd be like, "Oh," they look back at me, "What else you got?" And I'd be like, "I ain't got shit else to say because I only wrote one rap." But that was like the spark. And then just over time, man, I'll tell you, one of the biggest influencers. There's always been like this like adversity in my life. There's always been this underdog feel. Like I've always felt like I was the Eagles playing against, Tom Brady and the Patriots. It was always this, you can't do this. Whether it was basketball because I was too small. Whether it was because, your dad's a pastor, so you have to be this certain type of person. It was always that feeling, and so that motivation drove me. That anger drove me. One of my bullies, he was a bully, and you guys are going to be surprised in who this is, because you guys all know him. You guys all know this guy. Chris Red. You may not know his name. I'll tell you about Chris Red. Chris Red, one of the dopest rappers I have ever met in my life. Freshman year, he was a sophomore, I was a freshman. We used to have these big rap battles, and he would kill me. I would go home crying, cause I would be like, "Man, this nigga just killed me." He now is on Saturday Night Live. I don't know if you saw the skit with Chance. He's not obviously Keenan, but he's the other guy. He's a comedian. He's a huge comedian now, and he's on a TV show called Disjointed. So he's popular, but he moved over to comedy. But a couple years ago, he hit me up and he was like, "Yo, your music's dope." And that was like one of the first times I felt like, okay, I'm really doing something. When I had my bully from high school who would murder me in raps is saying that. So shout out to him. Thank you, Chris. Keep doing what you're doing. Love you, dog. Hit me up. You know what I'm saying? But no, he was definitely someone that like pushed and motivated me without him knowing it. That was freshman year. I was a new kid every year in high school. I either got kicked out or my parents moved me. So I was able to interact with a lot of people, white, black, Asian. I went to military school for a year in Virginia. So that gave me my well-roundedness. But the one thing that I always wanted to do was freestyle. So every school I went to, I would try to freestyle for these people. And whether I was good or bad, they knew that kid, for some reason, just likes to rap. He may be trash, but he likes to rap. And I just took that with me. By the time college came, I discovered weed and started smoking, and I discovered that weed lets me slow down my thoughts. And long story short, I got arrested around 20, was in jail for about 7 months for selling drugs. I was rapping for the inmates, and this one inmate came to me and told me, he's like, "Bro, like, you're actually not that bad. Like, you should really pursue it. And I knew when I got out of jail that I didn't want to go back to school. So I was like, fuck it, let me try it. My parents weren't too happy with it, but I did it. I remember my dad with him being a preacher, he had a bunch of little, microphones hanging around. So I took his laptop, took my mom's pantyhose, cut it up, took the microphone, put it on my wall, taped it, made my own little studio, and started making my own music there. And then just started meeting people here and there and here and there. And now I'm here.
Wow. So let me go back a little bit. You said that, you got kicked out.
Yeah. So from 6th grade to senior high school, I either got kicked out or suspended every year. For God knows what. I was a problem child. I wasn't a bad guy. I was a class clown, but like I didn't know who I was. And instead of some people, when they don't know who they are, they like get within themselves. I became even more extroverted. Like I would try too hard, and it got me in trouble. I would try to impress people too much, and it got me in trouble. Especially when I felt embarrassed. When I felt embarrassed, it would make me act out even more. And that's my entertainer side of me. That's my showmanship inside of me, which at that time I didn't know that. Over time I've discovered that. But yeah, I either got kicked out or suspended every year since 6th grade. And they didn't know what to do with me. I didn't know what to do with me, but shit happens, man.
Damn, that's crazy. And you went to jail, right? Why did you go to jail? Like,
for being a fake drug dealer, low key.
Fake drug dealer?
Yeah, man. Everyone has, there's a drug dealer stories. I was selling drugs, I got locked up. Yeah, I sold drugs one time to the wrong person because I was like the middleman. I had a buddy who sold drugs. I was doing the drugs. Had a friend at work who wanted some drugs. Gave him the drugs. All right. Gave him the drugs. And then he disappears for a week. Now, he disappeared for a week. We worked at Steak and Shake together. And he disappeared for a week. And I'm like, this nigga just gone. So I'm like, okay, whatever. He shows up a week later like, oh, man, yeah, bro. Let me get some more drugs. I was like, bet. He's like, yeah, but my friend wants some too. That friend wanted to be undercover. He got arrested. And so in Illinois, if you snitch on somebody who sells drugs, you get a lesser sentence. And so that's what he did to me. So I wasn't really a drug dealer, but I was doing something that I knew I shouldn't have been doing something that wasn't me, and that got me locked up in jail. And that gave me an experience to where I knew that if I continue down this path, I'm going to be stuck in jail. And one of the biggest things two things stuck out to me when being in jail, and let me know, obviously the mindset of someone that goes to jail, and the type of person that I am. The scariest part about jail is the fact that you get used to it. Being in there I remember the first 2 weeks I'm tripping. I'm like, and I had been to jail like in and out for drinking tickets, trying to, whatever. But when I finally realized after 2 weeks that I'm gonna be in this motherfucker, I got comfortable. Jail is like, you got 3 meals a day and you kick it. You ain't doing shit else. That's scary. You're not progressing. You're not doing anything. That's scary. I woke up every day, TV, food, chilling. So to leave jail, that was scary because it's like, man, I gotta get a job. I gotta make money. I gotta do something in my life. To me, that's why these niggas go back to jail. It's easy. And I remember this old man sat me down. He goes, we in there. And he asked me what I got arrested for. I told him, I was like, what'd you get arrested for? He told me, he was like, oh, but I've been to jail. I'll probably do a 6-piece, good time served, get out in 3. Here's the fucked up part. When he said 6-piece, the first thing that came to my mind was not 6 years.
6-piece what?
Chicken nuggets. So I'm like, 6-piece? What you mean 6-piece? You mean 6 years? But he's talked about it like it was nothing. Like 6 years of his life was, oh, that ain't shit, bro. I just think that you do the crime, do the time. I'm good, bro. I'll be out in 3. Nigga, and at the time I was facing a 4 to 15, and I was like, bro, I can't. I'm not built for that. That's not me. So it was that moment I realized, like, if I get out of here, I'm never going back. And so I got out. Was on 2-year probation. Never went back.
Was it like marijuana?
It's cocaine.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not. I don't smoke weed anymore. Definitely a fan of cocaine. I have been. I don't obviously don't sell it anymore. I might dabble in it here, but I'm definitely more of an alcohol and cocaine guy. But you know, that was just my drug of choice based on my personality and my style and who I am. That's just what I did. And I was, you know, trying to make a little extra money on the side, which obviously that way of making money is not something for me.
What dived you into that aspect of, you know, in reality of dealing with cocaine?
Getting arrested. And then realizing, because the day we got arrested, we got set up, and I'm so glad I didn't drive my car because they impound your car, you know, if you get arrested or whatever. So my buddy was driving his car, and they had cocaine on them. And I remember one of my best friends is in the back seat with me, and we're about to go make this drop, and he goes, "How much trouble can you get in for this?" I didn't know. I was like, "I don't know," but my homie knew, and he goes, "Oh, this is automatic felony." Like, nigga, like, no matter how much you have on you, it's an automatic felony. That ain't cool. At least not for me. You know? So that whole experience changed my life. And it's something that I usually don't talk about in my music. Because I'm not a drug dealer. I'm not 2 Chainz. I'm not Young Thug. I'm not these niggas that I'm not a thug. I don't talk about it. It's something that I personally hold on to myself, that I have. And it's something that I remember as, make sure whatever you do, you don't go back to that place. You know? So.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. It's like it's kind of interesting because you don't talk about it in your music.
No,
at all.
No, I don't. My music is very right now. It's very like what I'm going through right now, the emotions that I'm feeling right then and right now. And some experiences I keep out of the music because some experiences are just made for me. You know, some experiences are just and like the drug thing is not something that, like, you know, when these rappers talk about it, I don't know what their motive is behind talking about it, but it's something that I'm not proud of. It's something that I wish I never had to go through, and something that I wish that no one would ever know about me. Something that I'm embarrassed about. You know, it's something that, like, it just wasn't me. And I have to, in order for me, and I feel like for anyone to succeed, they have to always be themselves. And when you're not being yourself is when you get in trouble. And I wasn't being myself is when. So it's not something that I don't want to talk about it because I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. I don't want anyone thinking that I'm promoting that, because I'm not. At least when it comes to selling. I may talk about doing it here and there, but you know. But you know what I'm saying? I may talk about doing it here and there, but you know, like, that's what I do for me. Like, it's not for, like, I feel like you should find something that's you and just stick to it, you know? Like Wiz Khalifa, he's a weed guy. You know, I could never, I love Wiz to death. Everything he makes is dope to me. You know what I'm saying? But I feel high when I listen to his music. But if you put me and him in a room together to smoke, that nigga would smoke me under the table. I couldn't do it. And he probably wouldn't fuck with me.
But you tried marijuana, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was a point where I was smoking a lot. It's just over time, it just wasn't for me. I don't know why. It made me paranoid and antsy, and I'm already, you know, that type of guy. I don't need to be any more like that. You know what I'm saying? And it made me think too much.
So how that conflict, or not conflict, but mold you, you know, coming from Chicago, you know, that environment, you know.
Well, first off, I'll say this, you know, I don't know where I'm from, because I've been around so many places. You know, I grew up in Chicago. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. I also lived in Virginia. Like, I'm from all over the place. So, like, when I say I claim Chicago because that is the place that I've been the longest. But I'm not, you know, I can't be, you know, I'm not Austin off of 79. You know, that's not me. But how I got my name is because of Chicago. My first apartment on my own in Chicago was off of Austin and Fillmore. On the west side. And my family, my cousin tell you, we're prominent on the west side. Our grandmother and grandfather, my grandfather was one of the first black cops to ever work in Chicago. My grandmother was a political figure. She worked very closely with Mayor Daley. So the west side, she's called the mother of Austin. And that's the west side community. Like, my family's very prominent in that area. You know, but I didn't spend all my time growing up there. Like, my parents were very, our family's educated. My family's very educated. My parents took time to show us a different world outside of just the West Side and the hood, and that's why I can relate. Like, I can go anywhere in this world and relate to somebody, no matter who you are, no matter what you believe, gay, straight, you know, religious or not. I have this ability to find a way to relate to them, and I think so when you ask me where I'm from, I'm gonna start saying I'm from the world.
Mm.
You know, I'm from where you're from. I'm from where you're from. You know, when you look at me, like, I want you to see yourself, and that's what I want my music to do. I want my music to be a reflection of me, but also to be a reflection of you. That's why my music, like, I don't have a genre. Like, this project is going from alternative rock to hip hop to church feel. Like, I want everyone to be able to at least relate to two or more songs on the project. You know, and I never want to be called. I don't want to be the greatest rapper. I want to be the greatest entertainer, well-rounded entertainer. You know, a lot of people that are making music right now, you know, they make the music and they don't really think about what they're saying and who it's affecting. Because of my background in the church industry, I have that conviction. So everything that I say, I make sure I'm saying it with the purpose and for a reason. And with the mindset of who is going to listen to this, who's going to be affected by this, whose life am I going to touch, whose life am I going to change for the good or for the bad. And for me, I always want to be a good influence on people. You know, so like as I've gotten older, I've stepped away from cursing a lot. You know, because you know there's so many more words in the English vocabulary you could use besides fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I still say it here and there, because sometimes when you say fuck the right way, it's because, boom. Yeah. But, you know, it's just giving me a sense of conviction, a sense of purpose, sense of drive. And I also know why I'm doing this and who I'm doing this for. This isn't for me, it's for the greater good of God and the greater good of humanity. You know, it gives me a sense and a purpose higher than myself. And I feel like that's where a lot of artists lose themselves, is when they do things and they start looking at themselves as, this is me, this is me, this is me. That's when you lose yourself. That's when you fuck up.
So how did his respond? Like, you know, when you went to jail?
My dad?
Yeah.
Oh, the nigga was pissed. I almost got disowned. No, but he used it as an opportunity to, okay, you did this, let's get you. My dad, both my parents have been my biggest critics and my biggest supporters. I have messed up, even after being in jail, I've messed up a lot, but you know, they always find a way to be there, but they switch it up. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, at first, okay, we was helping you with the money. You keep messing up, we still gonna be there for you, but we ain't finna give you this money. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was like they would punish me, but they would still let me know that they love me in their own way. You know, it probably wasn't always the greatest way, but
your mom was stricter than your dad,
though. My mom is more traditional than my dad. Yeah, my dad could understand a lot of things more. Like, my mom's never even taken a sip of beer. Right. My dad has. So like, when it comes to that aspect, I was able to relate to my dad a lot more. And you know, my mom never goes to my shows. She'll probably never will, which is fine. My dad came to one, and I'm cool with that. Yeah. You know, but my parents just want me to be able to take care of me and take care of my family.
So like, you know, that jail, you definitely don't never want to go back to that.
No.
Man. What was you thinking when you was in there that whole time? Like, you know, like, was you thinking about music? Like rapping, like, you know, that old movie.
Which one?
Hustle.
Hustle and Flow.
Hustle and Flow.
No, I wasn't thinking about music. I wasn't thinking about actually doing music till towards the end of getting out. Man, honestly, in there, I was just thinking about just getting out and surviving, and then when I do get out, doing something positive with my life. I just didn't know what it was. Then there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of not thinking. You know, because, you know, where I was at, you know, it was some damn near a hotel, bro. It was like we played ball, we worked out, we kicked it, we talked shit, got into a couple fights. You know, it was about surviving. But, you know, I just knew that when I got out, I wanted to do something, and school wasn't that. So.
Oh, so you didn't go like to college or anything?
I did. So I went to College of DuPage after high school. Dropped out after first semester. Then went back the next year. Played basketball there. Dropped out after first semester. Got arrested. And then my parents made me go back to school once I got out while I was doing the music thing. But I dropped out. I never passed first semester of college. And it just wasn't. I just didn't want it. And I'm the type of person, like, I don't do anything I don't want to do. Like, that's like the rebellious, stubborn side of me that makes me a determined, great person, but also it's a downfall. Because if I don't want to do it, sometimes I have to do things I don't want to do. And that was quick.
Yeah, it was very frustrating.
You know, and I've learned as I've gotten older, like, I've worked these odd jobs because I have had to do it. But it's the reason why I do that is because I really want the music thing, and it helps me keep the music thing going. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to bring money in, and I'm not going to sell drugs to do it. So I have to work a job. You know? And it's humbled me. It's taught me a lot. But, yeah, for me, and I don't think school is a bad path. Like, my older brother went to school, graduated, got his degree. He, you know, sells Mercedes-Benz. My brother after me is in the NFL. He went to school, went to Illinois, now he plays for the Colts. And my other brother after me is the Division I basketball player for Youngstown State in Ohio. So they all chose the school route, but they have sports to keep them active. For me, this wasn't for that. You know, this wasn't for me.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So when did you start taking your career serious? Like, fuck that, I'm giving it all my all. I'm going to show the world who I am. I have a message. What is your message? Or, you know...
I started taking it seriously when I started seeing the reaction people were getting after me showing them my music. And then watching things happen. Like, things, when you're supposed to be doing something, you're always at the right place at the right time, and things just fall into place. And why? Because that's God. That's God's plan, you know. That's God given. No rep, just straight for me. That's God. Cheers, guys. That's you know, when you're touched by God to do something, it just happens. And my message is to think less, feel more. One of the things that I'm doing, I'm bringing feeling back to my nigga. With this right, I'm bringing feeling back to music. I'm bringing my honesty, my outlook, my point of view. And that emotion is going to cause you to feel something, and it's going to cause you to do something, whether it's going to make you go crazy, whether it's going to make you sad. I just want to create feeling, spark emotion, spark conversation. And whatever that leads to, that's what it leads to. I want to be the seed. I want to be the planter. And if my music continues to fertilize whatever seed that is, that's perfect. But love, pain, every emotion that we as humans could feel, I don't want us running from that. I want us to feel all that emotion. Because all those emotions, good or bad, are emotions that we're supposed to have and to get through to become who we're supposed to be.
So let's talk about some of your tracks.
Yeah.
The latest music video, which you do have another music video in the making that's coming out soon.
Yeah.
But what really stand out to me is that music, Juke.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And just like the whole backstory and the history of that song, and you know, the method of juking.
Yeah, that's in Chicago.
Yeah,
that's all
Chicago
day.
thing.
That's what we was doing in high school. We was, you know, the juke parties, and I feel like, you know, Chicago doesn't jump on their own music, especially when it came to that era of music, you know. But when I heard the beat, shout out Giff, brother Giff. So I was thinking, shout out brother Giff for making that beat. When I heard the beat, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. It had that vibe, but I didn't want the regular juking songs that we were used to, where it was just a couple words, repetitive. It was more for dancing. I wanted an R&B song, a song that people could sing along to and dance to, and so that's what I made. And it was me showing my appreciation to Chicago. Only problem is, I don't think Chicago really grasped onto it the way that I wanted them to. A lot of other places did, like Phoenix.